Sunday. It's a nice day and I've had a busy weekend on the guards and some other bits and pieces. I didn't film much of this at all, but I've been hammering these smooth again using my stake dolly and my homemade air planishing hammer thing, which is working really well. It's extremely loud though. I think I've mentioned before, it's like an MG42 going off, and it's actually quite tiring. Even though you're not doing the hammering yourself, you're standing here holding this thing, moving it backwards and forwards while trying to hold the guards. It's actually quite tiring, and I was a little bit sick towards the end of the week, so I've been taking it a little bit easy, and I've basically got them good enough. They're not 100% finished. I always have a little bit of trouble with undercuts in the welds. Might be able to sort of see it there, where there's little depressions. The welds are strong enough, they're not going to come apart, but I might go back and do a little bit more welding just to fill in some of those spots and fill up any pinholes that I've got. But at the end of the day, it's going to be painted and have filler over it. And as a comparison, this is an original guard that had been modified. This is what I used as my pattern, more or less. And this was on a real Brooklands for a long time. And it's rough as anything, and I don't think anyone would have ever complained. But it's quite wavy. You can see it's been repaired here. It's been welded up. So Kyle is doing a Auburn car that he got, which looks like it's going to be an interesting project for him, especially the woodworking bits. But he did just show repairing the guard and repairing it basically like this. So, you know, that's kind of what they did on old cars. They just made them work again. So I'm really pleased he's not trying to turn that into a show car or anything. I think he'll make it a good solid car and enjoy driving it, which is really good. So these are probably good enough, and I have trimmed the edges, and the way I did that is I put masking tape on it. Oh, there it is here. Masking tape laid across it, drew out the first one and used that as a pattern to do the rest. So the line there is the line that I need to run through the bead roller. I've got it marked on the inside as well, and that'll give me that fold for my wired edge. So I just used my little 3D printed gauge, and then I can just follow along the edge using that, and that works really well. So you can see there is a bit of a kick on them. Might be too much, maybe it needs to be shorter, I'm not really sure. I don't think it matters. You kind of get to the point where you just have to do something and then not worry about it because nobody's going to notice. No, there is quite a kick on those. So those are the guards. Like I say, that air planisher is extremely loud. My neighbour from across the road actually came over to see what I was up to because of the noise. So I thought, I'll give it a break for the rest of the day. It is Sunday afternoon. I don't want to annoy all the neighbours. Pretty sure I mentioned I'd fixed this. I replaced my wire stays with flat bar, and I replaced the springs. They're actually Austin 7 brake drum springs, but that works a lot better now. The other thing I did is I've mounted the mirror, which I've nicked off the Austin 7. So this is a Tex, I think it's Tex mirror, which is more a 50s, 60s thing, but that's okay. I'm imagining things like mirrors are kind of replaceable items because they'd get broken and wear out anyway. You just go with what works. So that's my rear vision mirror, and I've also mounted the screen. I managed to pull the glass out. I sprayed around the edge of the glass with silicone spray to make it slippery, and then I was able to clamp this in my wood vise and just carefully pull the frame off the glass, and that came out fine. The rubber strip is actually torn in the corners where they've pushed it in, so that may need replacing at some point. It goes in much more easily than it comes out. But what I ended up doing is drilling holes, and I countersunk them from the inside, so there's no head sticking out for the glass to break on. And I went through my little junk bin, and these are actually Whitworth brass screws with little acorn nuts on the end, which tidies that up nicely. And you can see the mirror mounts there pretty well. I had sandblasted all of this to take the shine off it. Same with these knobs and these mounting posts. Still need to replace the M6 hex head grub screws there with something a bit better. And I was looking at my huge collection of photographs of Brooklands and real cars, and it turns out this is actually done on one of the real ones. I don't know if they did it in period, but it is done on an original Brooklands. 80, I can't remember the number, 23, 35, something like that. I think it's a little blue and white one. But I was looking at my pictures to try and figure out how far back from the scuttle edge it should be. They're actually all pretty close. So this is about right. And that car has exactly this, where they've mounted one of these mirrors to the side of the frame exactly the same way I've done it here. It's exactly the same Brooklands screen. Like I say, they don't know if they did that in period. They did all sorts of things in period, going through the historical pictures. They just mounted whatever they could. Most of them were pretty rough. So that's my little fly screen in place and my little side mirror. So that's come out really well. Doesn't look shiny. This looks shiny because it's stainless steel, but I don't want it to rust. But it goes on there. It says Brooklands on it, which is quite nice. And I did find when I was going through my steel, I do have the thick bar that I need to make the guard stays that go in the actual guard. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough of this stuff, which is thick wall furniture tube with a dead spider on it. I think this is all I've got left, and I did cut these. They should hopefully be the right lengths, but if I need more of that I would have to order it, because all I've got is thin wall stuff and I'd rather use the thicker wall stuff. And motorbike, no news there. I was considering going for a ride this morning, so my next aim is to get basically to Southwards Museum and back. And to me that seems like an epic journey. I looked on the map, it's actually about 15-16 kilometers, so about 10 miles to get there. So 20-mile round trip, which isn't really very long, but I'm just working up, building up to things. And a friend of mine did ask me if the videos I upload are at the same quality as what comes out of the camera. No, they're not, because we're on rural broadband and our upload speeds are absolutely dreadful. So I have to compress things down. It's the bit rate that causes the most impact for me. So I can't run it at the full bit rate because it would take days to upload things. So I'll try and keep these shorter, and then maybe I can up the quality. But yeah, guards are coming along.